So recently I've been doing some gaming with the kids with sort of retro games, retro consoles. So I took my Dreamcast round to them the other week, had a good old game on that. Took my Xbox 360 round to them, they was interested in that, because they mainly play the Switch and their tablets. They have got an original PS1, but it's away in the loft, I don't think they've used it for ages. And then I decided to take my old original Xbox, which is up in my loft, out and took that round to them. Now, the issue with that Xbox, which I couldn't remember, is that the CD doesn't work. So the CD drawer sort of flings itself open and closed, so you can't really play CDs on it. But luckily, it's got built-in emulators, so I can play Mega Drive, SNES, and arcade games on it. So it's good enough for that.
But the thing is, I didn't just want it to play the old Mega Drive games, SNES games, and the arcade games. I mean, although they're brilliant, I did want the CD drive working because I have an enormous bag of Xbox games. The downside at the moment is it just won't read them. So I need to take it apart, have a look inside and see why it's not reading the discs, and see if we can fix it some way. If not, I'll still use it as an emulator for playing the other games, but it'd be nice if I can get the discs working. Having said that, the other day it wasn't working. I literally had the discs jumping in and out like a yo-yo. It's working now. Maybe it's just been where it's sitting, I don't know, but now all of a sudden it's working. Right, well, let's see if some other games work, shall we? Now, I will admit there's a fair amount of games here that I've never played. I mean, I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Tasmanian Devil, I've got the Wallace and Gromit game. Wallace and Gromit in Project Zoo. Never played it. Yeah, you played that quite a lot. James Bond game, Crazy Taxi, of course. Who hasn't played Crazy? Actually, we'll give Crazy Taxi a go. That's this fella here, Crazy Taxi, proper classic. Okay, so another old favourite. I've actually got this on a few versions. So this is Dead or Alive 3. On the Dreamcast, I've got Dead or Alive 2. And on the Xbox 360, I've got Dead or Alive 4. So I used to play it on this a lot though, and the kids love playing this because they love kicking the hell out of each other, like you do. Amazing. As I said, I spent days and days last week, week before, trying it because it wouldn't work. It's been sitting out for a while. It hasn't been powered up. I mean, it's been hidden away in the loft for years. It hasn't been powered up, and all of a sudden, now it's working great. That's really annoying because I really wanted to do a video taking it apart, but I don't need to. Or I say I don't need to. Somebody did say about worrying about the battery. The battery could probably need changing because if it's had a battery in it for about 20 odd years, chances are that battery may well have leaked. So even so it has miraculously started working, which it wasn't doing the other day, I am going to take it apart just to check that battery, because I said somebody on one of the forums did say you've got to check the battery because you make sure it doesn't leak all over the motherboard because you could have major problems. So we'll take it apart just to do the battery. Don't want to do any damage because it was working, so let's see how it happens. They hide all the little screws, obviously. These are under the little stickers. Now they're not ordinary screws either. They've put these Torx drive screws in it simply because obviously they don't want people taking it apart, or never used to anyway. So luckily I also have my little set that was left behind at work one day by an engineer, never ever came back for it, which is full of all the right pieces. Up and there, and in theory, look at that. Actually, size of that. Look at the size of that. So that's it with the top taken off. And there's not a lot you can see, so there's a few other bits you're going to need to get out of the way. So to be fair, looking at it, the battery's fine. Everything in here is clean. There's not even any dust or dirt in it as such. I said most of its time has been spent in the loft, so probably why, but yeah, it's not dusty. It's very airtight in here and it's very clean. A lot cleaner than I expected it to be. So put it back together and let's see if it still works. The best way to test this is to test it without the case on and then put the case on and put it back together. So I just need to know that it switches on again. It does. It does that, which I know it does that anyway. Okay, so that's the ordinary menu. Cool. It's all working okay. Now on the side of this Xbox there's a little switch, which is this little thing here. I switch that switch down. This time I get that menu. So let's see if it'll play a game this time. So again, I'm going to try a game I'm not sure if I've ever played. I don't know if it loads or not, because oh, it's loading. Yeah, I probably loaded this once. I can't remember ever playing this game. I mean, look at the box art for it. Look how young he looks. Harry Potter, and he's like 8 or 6 or whatever. I don't know whatever his age is supposed to be, but it's, yes, he's very, very young in this. But as I said, I'm sure I've never played it because it says new game, so it's not even giving me the option. Yeah, so I've never actually played it because I've never saved anything. Look, and look at that, 2002. So, which is virtually when the console came out. This console's actually got a manufacture date on the underneath of the case. I'm surprised how clean this thing is. Look, it's literally spotless. There's not a mark of dust in here, which is unbelievable. Because this is 20 years old, and I did use it, but clearly not for a very long time. I mean, there's dust on the top of it, look, but nothing inside, which surprises me, to be fair. Click it in place in a few places, and then back in with our super long screws. There we go. And where all their feet stick back on. If it doesn't, I'm not too fussed because I can glue them. Well, they still remain quite sticky. As I said, this thing, you know, it's only ever been apart once before, and that was when it had its other games and stuff put in it. So no, it seems alright. It does actually give us a manufacturer's date. It was manufactured the 16th of October 2002. So it's just under 20 years old by a few weeks. One of the other things which I quite like about the Xbox, which a lot of people nowadays find sort of an annoying thing, is it only runs off of a normal plug. The actual power supply is in the unit, which is why the unit is so big, and it is a little bit on the noisy side. But the old Xbox 360, which came after this, has got an enormous great power supply that goes with it externally. So, you know, where do you want it, in the console or externally? I prefer this one to be in here because it only takes up this amount of room on the desk, nothing down below, and you just plug in an ordinary plug.
It sets the Xbox apart from the competition, said the Mirror. One of the best games ever made, said OXM. The most consuming video game we've played for years, said Edge. I had a boyfriend until Halo came out, said Michelle from Bolton.